Ever feel like you're not getting the whole story? Like there are things happening behind the curtain that you're just not meant to see. You're not wrong. Today, we're peeling back that curtain and diving into some of the most significant documented lies ever told by the US government. These aren't conspiracy theories. They're historical facts backed by declassified documents and official reports. So buckle up because the truth is often stranger and more shocking than fiction. Let's start with a big one, the Gulf of Tonkin incident. It's August 1964. President Lyndon B. Johnson goes on national television with a grave face. He tells the American people that North Vietnamese forces have launched an unprovoked attack on U.S. warships in the Gulf of Tonkin. The public is outraged. Congress, feeling the pressure, overwhelmingly passes the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. This single document gives President Johnson the authority to use military force in Southeast Asia without an official declaration of war. And just like that, America is plunged headfirst into the Vietnam War, a conflict that would cost over 58,000 American lives and millions of Vietnamese lives. But what if the initial attack never happened? Years later, declassified documents from the National Security Agency, the NSA, revealed a disturbing truth. The first incident on August 2nd was a real, albeit minor, skirmish. But the second supposed attack on August 4th, the one that truly galvanized Congress and the public, it almost certainly never occurred. It was a phantom event, a product of misinterpreted sonar readings, nervous sailors, and what one NSA historian called a fine example of a crisis based on misinformation. The government knew the evidence was shaky, at best. Yet, they sold it to the public as a certainty to justify a massive escalation of the war. Think about that. A decade of war built on a lie. Now, let's rewind a few decades to the 1930s. The Great Depression is ravaging the country. In Macon County, Alabama, a new government study begins. It's called the Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in the Negro Male. The U.S. Public Health Service enrolled 600 African American men, 399 with syphilis and 201 without. The men were told they were being treated for bad blood, a vague local term for various ailments. They were promised free medical exams, free meals, and burial insurance. What they weren't told was the true purpose of the study, to observe the natural, untreated progression of syphilis until death. The men were never given proper treatment, even after penicillin became the standard effective cure for syphilis in the 1940s. The researchers actively prevented the men from seeking treatment elsewhere. This wasn't a short study. It went on for 40 years. 40 years of deception, of watching men suffer, go blind, insane, or die from a treatable disease, all in the name of science. It only ended in 1972 when a whistleblower, Peter Buxton, leaked his story to the Associated Press. The public outcry was immense, and rightly so. The Tuskegee study became a symbol of medical racism and unethical research, leading to major reforms in patient protection and informed consent. But for the men and their families, the damage was irreversible. A promise of care became a death sentence. Let's move forward to the 1950s and 60s, the height of the Cold War. The CIA was obsessed with the idea of mind control. They feared the Soviets, Chinese, and North Koreans were already using it on prisoners of war. So they launched their own top-secret, highly illegal program, Project MKUltra. The goal? To find a truth serum, a way to control human behavior. The methods were horrifying. The CIA dosed unsuspecting American citizens with high-powered drugs, most notably LSD. They tested it on everyone from college students and soldiers to mental patients and prisoners. These experiments were often conducted without the subject's knowledge or consent. People would suddenly find their world dissolving into a terrifying psychedelic trip, with no idea why. Some were observed in secret, others were subjected to psychological abuse, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation. The program was vast and decentralized, making its full scope difficult to grasp. When the project was exposed in the 1970s by the Church Committee Investigations in Congress, the CIA director at the time had already ordered most of the MKUltra files destroyed. But the fragments that survived painted a chilling picture of a government agency operating completely outside the law, using its own citizens as human guinea pigs in a paranoid quest for a mind control weapon. Now, for a more recent and perhaps more familiar event, the lead up to the 2003 invasion of Iraq. After the September 11th attacks, the Bush administration began building a case for war. The central claim, repeated over and over by the highest officials, was that Saddam Hussein's regime possessed weapons of mass destruction, or WMDs. We were shown satellite images of supposed mobile chemical labs. We heard dramatic testimony at the United Nations about stockpiles of anthrax and nerve agents. The narrative was clear. Iraq posed an imminent threat to the world. The invasion happened. The regime fell. And then nothing. The teams of weapons inspectors scoured the country. They found no WMDs, no active nuclear program, no stockpiles of chemical or biological weapons. The intelligence had been, as the official 9/11's Commission report and other investigations later concluded, dead wrong. Key intelligence was misinterpreted, exaggerated, or based on unreliable sources who had their own agendas. Claims that were presented to the public as certainties were, in reality, highly questionable within the intelligence community itself. The justification for a war that cost hundreds of thousands of lives and trillions of dollars was based on a false premise, a lie sold to a fearful public. Finally, let's talk about something happening right above our heads. For years, the U.S. government categorically denied the existence of unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, what we commonly call UFOs. The official position was that sightings were just weather balloons, swamp gas, or overactive imaginations. Project Blue Book, the Air Force's official study, concluded in 1969 that there was nothing to see here. Folks, for decades, anyone who talked seriously about the topic was dismissed as a crank. Then, in 2017, the New York Times dropped a bombshell. They published an article revealing the existence of a secret Pentagon program, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. The story included stunning, declassified videos taken by Navy fighter pilots. These videos showed strange tic-tac-shaped objects performing maneuvers that seemed to defy the known laws of physics, accelerating instantly and making sharp turns, with no visible means of propulsion. Suddenly, the government that had spent half a century saying it's not real was forced to admit, well, actually, we've been studying it seriously for years. In 2021, the Director of National Intelligence released a preliminary report acknowledging dozens of incidents they could not explain. The lie wasn't about aliens. The lie was the denial itself. The government actively ridiculed and dismissed a topic that, behind closed doors, they were taking very seriously. From the jungles of Vietnam to the laboratories of MKUltra, and from the deserts of Iraq to the skies over our own oceans, these stories show a pattern. They are not isolated mistakes. They are calculated deceptions. They remind us that it's not just our right, but our duty as citizens to question, to demand transparency, and to hold power accountable. The truth is out there, but sometimes you have to dig for it. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this deep dive as fascinating as I did, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges the official story. Let me know in the comments which of these stories shocked you the most. See you in the next video.